bad news. The Seattle Seahawks are not in a great spot right now. Let me be honest. Let me be clear here. The Seattle Seahawks, according to Over the Cap, let's just get right into this. They got a whole $426,000. It's not a lot, especially since you have to sign rookies. You have to do a bunch of other things that take up that money. We basically have $2.53. We could get a scratch-off ticket and a Snickers bar. You know, the Seahawks ain't got a lot of money. However, we got people on the market that we could bring back, and it could be nice. Chris Carson, KJ Wright, Carlos Dunlap, they aren't getting the kind of market that we expected them to. They aren't getting that huge interest that players at the talent level that they are would be expected to get. KJ Wright, he wanted a lot of money because he played really, really well the last 2 years. No one's really that interested in him. I haven't heard any reports about teams being insanely interested in KJ Wright, offering him anything. He might have to come back to the Seahawks for another year, prove himself again, go into free agency when there's a lot more money, because the NFL apparently is signing like a $100-something billion deal for the next 11 years, which is absolutely insane. And obviously, money's going to be coming back after next year, especially when things most likely are going to open back up at least halfway through the season, at the very latest, I'd assume. But I mean, you also got Chris Carson on the market. We thought he'd be like the number one guy that'd be getting so much interest because he's going to be the number one running back on the market, especially after Aaron Jones got re-signed by the Green Bay Packers. And boom, no one's interested. There was reports that the Dolphins were going to sign him and like it was happening really soon. But then there was also reports that said that's not going to happen. He has like no idea where he's going to go, no real offers. And then he didn't get signed by the Dolphins. So I'm going to assume that his market isn't that great, kind of like KJ Wright. Carlos Dunlap, I mean, I think the Ravens had some interest in him, but I mean, no one really has had interest in those three guys. So I think the Seahawks, they got to restructure someone like a Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, do something to get some more money. Because, man, I mean, we have some guys that we could pick up because we need to fill that third linebacker spot. KJ Wright being gone, who are we going to fill it in with? Because I'm going to pray and hope to God that the Seahawks will use their second round pick to get a good center in the draft, because we signed back Ethan Postich, and I'm not a big fan of him. He was kind of dookie butt cheeks when it came to the run game. He was serviceable in the passing game, but I do not want him to be our starting center. If we had a Dwayne Brown, a Gabe Jackson, a Damian Lewis, and then we had a Brandon Shell, and then we just had a really good young center, boy, we would be a very good offensive line. Probably one of the best offensive lines Russell Wilson has had in his career. Not saying he won't get sacked 800 times, but it'll be a decent offensive line. So I think that if we spend our second round pick on someone good on the offensive line to put in at center, or maybe put in at a guard spot and move Damian Lewis to center, I think we need to sign someone in free agency, because we wouldn't be getting someone with our fourth round pick or our seventh round pick or whatever we have left now to fill in day one, kind of be that starter on the linebacker spot. So if we could get KJ Wright back to be that third linebacker, that'd be huge. If we could get Carlos Dunlap back, that'd be absolutely amazing, because before Carlos Dunlap last year, the Seahawks were completely buns when it came to rushing the passer. So, I mean, Carlos Dunlap definitely had a huge impact. I mean, maybe Darrell Taylor is going to come in next year, have a great year. Maybe Alden Robinson could be a guy. Maybe we have LJ Collier still doing really good. We have Jaron Reed. We have Poona Ford on that defensive line. I mean, that's a decent defensive line, but Carlos Dunlap obviously made a difference. He came in last year and we went from 0 to 100 when it came to pass rush. So I would like to have Carlos Dunlap back if he continues to get like really no interest, and we could get him back on a relatively cheap deal, because I assume most people this year, like Gerald Everett, Ahkello Witherspoon, and I'm going to assume KJ Wright, Chris Carson, and Carlos Dunlap, with the lack of interest they have, not saying they'd come back to the Seahawks guaranteed, but they're going to go to a team for most likely 1 year on a relatively cheaper deal than they'd want, so they can test free agency next year when the money's a lot bigger up. Because, I mean, it makes sense for Gerald Everett. I would have liked to get him on a multi-year deal, because that is a nice tight end, nice young guy that we could have in the scheme. But I mean, it makes sense for someone as young as Gerald Everett and as good as he was last year, and probably he's going to be really good this year, to get a 1 year deal, go into free agency again next year and get a lot more money. Makes sense, but it's kind of tough for us. I think that we could definitely get KJ Wright back at least on a 1 year deal, because, you know, the Seahawks, they're really not going to be able to free up enough money to give him most likely the money that he wants, unless we can backload it a ton. If we get like a 2 year deal, backload it to 2022 somehow. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do. I think it starts with restructuring Russell Wilson. It's not going to hurt Russell Wilson. It's not going to stop him from making money. It's just going to push the cap hit to later on years. So basically, the Seahawks will be a lot better this year, and then later years, they'll be kind of screwed on money. But in later years, the money's going to be a lot better than it is this year. So I'd assume that's something that the Seahawks will likely do probably in the next few days if, you know, Chris Carson and KJ Wright are still there. That's what I hope they'll do. Next thing I want to talk about, Jamal Adams. We got some bad news for that boy. He's going to be getting a lot of money because according to Ian Rappaport, Justin Simmons, the safety, and the Denver Broncos have agreed to a 4-year, $61 million deal. That's a lot of money, man. Jamal Adams, that's like $15 million a year. I mean, Justin Simmons is 2 years older than Jamal Adams, so Jamal Adams is probably going to get maybe a 5-6 year deal for like $15 million a year. That's going to be tough. That's going to be a lot of money to be paying for a safety. But I mean, Jamal Adams, if he can continue being as good as he is and get better, 100% would be worth it. But Jamal Adams is going to be getting a lot of money in these next few years. But, of course, the money is going to be going up, so the Seahawks will be in a little bit better of a situation. It's not like we're going to be having a cap, number of $182 million every single year. Probably going to go up to the 200s, 2-something millions by the time, most of the money that Jamal Adams would be making would be getting paid to him. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on right now. Justin Simmons, that huge deal, really means a lot for Chris Carson. Jamal Adams, I mean, he's going to be getting money. I don't know when we're going to extend him. Hopefully we do it soon, and then we can backload it because I do not want Jamal Adams getting off this team. We gave up so much for him, and if he leaves the team, I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed. But the Seahawks are in quite a predicament right now. We have some holes that we need to fill that we don't have the draft picks to fill those holes with. And we don't really have the money. So we're going to have to figure out some way to get money. Maybe we trade Jaron Reed, get some picks, clear up some cap, and we can get, a Chris Carson or maybe a KJ Wright. I mean, we don't really have to get Chris Carson, really. I mean, obviously, Rashad Penny can definitely come in and be that guy. He can be the number one guy. I just hope that we can get someone that will at least be a power back option. Because DJ Dallas, I did like watching him last year, but he really wasn't the guy that could come in and fill in the Chris Carson role. Because if we can get like Rashad Penny and maybe we can get Leonard Fournette for a cheaper deal, even though he's probably going to go back to the Buccaneers, try to run it back, get another Super Bowl. I mean, there's a lot of things that the Seahawks can do. We just got to clear up some money. Whether that's restructuring Russell Wilson, restructuring Bobby Wagner, extending some guys to clear up some money now and push it on later into the future, or, trading Jaron Reed, getting some picks, getting some money, a double whammy, double win, wombo combo. There's a lot of things the Seahawks can do and a lot of things that the Seahawks should do because we need to continue to focus offensive line. Ethan Posich at center is not going to cut it, but we've definitely made some moves so far that have been pretty good, in my opinion. There's more to be done. The Seahawks hopefully will do it. I pray to God the Seahawks will clear up some money, at least get KJ Wright back, because that dude's nice. I want KJ Wright back, if nothing else. Hopefully a Carlos Dunlap might get thrown right into our hands for another 1-year deal. That'd be nice to see, We'll see what happens. It's the Seahawks we're talking about. They could do absolutely nothing and just screw over the entire team and just pray and hope for the best. We'll see what happens because day 1 and 2, the Seahawks were pretty dormant. They didn't do anything. But now that we're in a pretty big predicament with some holes to fill that we can't really fill with anything but spending money in free agency, we're going to have to figure something out. And I think some big news might be coming ahead in the next few days of like a Russell Wilson restructure or a trade of some sort. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think these next few days are going to be interesting, very telling, and the Seahawks got to do something. That's it. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.